name's Megan. Yeah, I flew in from Atlanta. It's a lot warmer there than it is here, so bear with me. That's why I have my jacket on, and you guys are like in shorts and tank tops. But before I talk today and everything that I say, I remember going to these presentations back in my day. Make it sound like I graduated a long time ago, but I did not. I'm a graduate of 2015. Thanks for remembering, not myself. And I think these are very important. I know a lot of you guys probably are sitting here and like, okay, a lot of the people that talk about this, we say a lot of the same stuff, but I'm hoping that today I'll talk a little bit different because I do come from the younger side of things. I mean, I'm 26 years old, and I'd say I have a pretty decent job for where I'm at right now in my day. And honestly, there's a lot of stuff out there that you might not know even exist. I can tell you right now that I played women's basketball in college, and I didn't even know what the WBCA was, which is terrible. And then one day I find this internship, and I'm like, maybe I should apply for this. So hopefully you'll learn a little bit today, and honestly, ask questions while I'm talking. Sometimes if you don't know what I'm talking about, ask me, and I'll answer it right then. Or if you want to wait to the end, I'll answer it then too. And so let's talk a little bit about this today. Just a little bit of overview. I'm going to talk about kind of right from the bottom where I started in high school, to Ferris, to internships, what I do now for the WBCA, and then also kind of talk about some stuff that I think will help you, mentors or things I didn't know before I got into the work field and you didn't learn in college, because you learn a lot in college, but I can tell you right now, until you start working in sports, you don't really get it, to be honest. So let's talk about high school. So I went to Grandville High School. Is anyone from Grand Rapids here? Yeah. Anyone from Grandville? No. Oh, darn it. Well, I went to Grandville. I played 3 sports in high school, so kind of growing up, that's all I knew was sports. That's little Kara playing shortstop back in my day. Don't know what year, but yeah. And kind of my process too I do see a couple of athletes in here, but the process is obviously a little bit different for everybody, especially when you're being recruited. So here I am, I'm in high school, and I have no idea what I want to do. I mean, honestly, you're 18 years old and you have no idea what you want to do. So you're 18, you're deciding where you're going to go to school, what sport am I honestly going to play, and then also okay, I'm going there, what am I going to be in? I think I started, I'll get into this as I go, but I think I changed my major 5 times. So what I started with is not what I ended with. I was going to be a cop, I was going to be a CI agent, I was going to be anything under the sun, and that is not what I do now. And then you come here and honestly, a lot of things change when you're in college as well. So here we go, Ferris State. I was a 2-time sport. I did 2 sports here. I did volleyball and basketball, kind of a little bit different. So I was recruited for volleyball, and I played volleyball for 3 years. And then I played like this. So I did 3 years of volleyball, and then I overlapped, and then I did 3 years of basketball. So I kind of had a different role in anything. It's kind of funny, met with a couple of the girls I still played with. They were baby freshmen when I was a 5th-year senior, because I was old on the team. I think I was 24 when I graduated. So I was pretty old in college. So I mean, I started here when I was 18, and I graduated when I was 24. So I took the long course, which is fine. So if we have any 6 years here, that's fine. It's totally okay. Because once you leave college, you work all the time. So it's a little bit different. When I was here at Ferris, like I said, I had 5 different majors. I started in, I wanted to be a nurse. Then I was told that nursing was too hard because you were a student athlete. No, it's not. You can still be a nurse if you wanted to be a nurse. Anything, honestly, being a student athlete, it makes you have to work a little harder because your time and everything, but if you wanted to be a nurse, you could be a nurse. I then went into, that's okay, don't worry about it. And then I wanted to be a teacher. First I wanted to be a math teacher for little kids, then I started in, I can't even remember the name of it, but probably secondary ed. Then I went in and then I wanted to be a PE teacher. That didn't work out. Then I wanted to be a cop, and I'll never forget, I think it was my sophomore year, and I still had no idea what I wanted to do. Once again, you're 19 years old and you don't know what you want to do. And I don't know, do we have seniors in here? If you're a senior, will you raise your hand? Oh, okay, juniors, sophomores. Do we have any freshmen? Heck yeah, way to be here, you're starting young. You're gonna be big time, okay? Anyways, and so I'm sitting in there and I'm talking with the dean. I cannot remember her name.
I think you met with Michelle Stone.
Maybe, yes.
She's the one who called me and said, I'm going to send you over somebody.
Yeah, so I'm meeting with her and she sits me down and I'm like I said, baby little sophomore here, and she looks at me and she goes, pardon my language, but she looks at me and she says, Kara, she's like, we'd love to have you here, but she goes, you know, you would be a shit officer. Like, I would be so bad. And she was so right, because I was not meant to be a cop, but at the time I had no idea what I wanted to be. And she looks at me and she's like, have you ever thought about sports commie? And I looked at her, I said, I have no idea what you're talking about. What can I do if I'm a sports commie? Like, what can I do with that? She said, well, here, meet Dr. A. And so I meet Dr. A, and the rest is history. I love sports, I'm in sports, here I am. So then I think I'm gonna be the next Erin Andrews. So I'm gonna dominate life, I'm gonna be Erin Andrews, I'm gonna be a social media person, I'm gonna be interviewed, everything like that. So you start having internships. So I have internships, I go through internships. I don't know if any of you guys work with John Coles. If you're younger, start working with John Coles. He does so much, he's amazing. I'll talk about him later as well, but if you can work within the athletic department, if you wanna be in the athletic department, work with John Coles. He will help you. He still helps me to this day, and he's awesome. So I did an internship for John, and I was the social media correspondent. I call this my demo reel. So I'm gonna show you guys my demo reel, and I did a bunch of stuff for the sports. So I was there, and I did stuff for like the hockey team. I remember a couple times I had to get up and speak on the loudspeaker at the hockey arena, and I know a lot about sports, but hockey is one I do not understand. So, but let me start. I just want you guys to see this and see a couple things that I did back in my day.
Hey, I'm here again, Kara Hess, social media correspondent for Ferris Athletics. I'm here with my football friends again. We got Gift, and our new guy over here, we got Austin, and Brutus again. What's up, guys? Nothing new.
Sorry for the awkwardness.
My name's Kara, I'm here with some football guys and Brutus. And we wanted to invite you guys to come up to the game on Saturday. You know the big home game, right? Before we stop now, taking a new approach. We're going to the slider. So we already saw them. We're going to sneak up on them. We're at our next hall, Merrill Hall. We're going to do the surprise attack here. We're just going to knock on someone's door, hopefully there, hopefully take some pizza and go to the game. So let's see what's up. Hi, Kara Hess here, social media correspondent for Ferris State Athletics. I'm here with a couple of football guys. We're going to ask them a couple questions. First here we got Jason. We're going to ask you, what is your favorite band/music anything?
OER is definitely my favorite band. I like all their music. And if I had to pick one favorite song right now, it would definitely be Safe and Sound.
That's a good one. This Saturday, senior day, football game at 12 o'clock noon. Be here at the football field. At halftime, we have an awesome thing going on. Tug of war, RSOs, residence halls, sports teams, come out. Men's bracket, women's bracket. The team that wins gets $250 check written out to their organization. It's going to be a great time. Come out, support the football team. It's going to be a great last game. Go Bulldogs.
Okay, that was awesome, right? Yeah. So I did stuff like that, and as soon as the internship was done, I knew right then that that was not what I wanted to do, honestly. I think that's important to know is internships. You might do an internship, and it might not be anything you want to do, but there's so many things out there that, okay, now you check something out that you don't want to do. So from there, I kind of went into a different kind of line of work. I knew I wanted to be on the back end of things. I wanted to be kind of almost in charge of things, changing different areas and everything. So I did an internship with my AD at Grandville, and I did all the events, and I did a lot of like the in-person work in the office, and that's kind of the route that I was like, okay, I like this, and this is what I want to do. And so more things happened, more things went on. And like I said, I'll talk more about it. But when I was here at Ferris, what I think is important to know also, okay, I'm a student athlete. You think, okay, you're just a student athlete. But no, I did so many different things. I was a part of the sports career RSO. I think I was the alumni coordinator, and I do not think I ever coordinated any alumni. So I apologize for that. But I was a part of the RSO. I was doing all these random things. I honestly was in a play. I did a play. I mean, I didn't have any lines because I wouldn't remember them, but I was in a play. I was doing things that were not just normal because I wanted to experience everything. Yes, I think I wanted to work in sports, but maybe there's a lot of stuff out there that I don't think we know exist or you guys know exist unless you could be at a play and maybe there's a sports association for plays. I have no idea. But I think it's important to know that there's things out there and you should always go out there and try different things. So even right now, you're a sophomore or if you're even a junior, it's never too late to start. And if you can, I would start now. And like I said, use your people that you have. Use the athletic department, even if you're not in sports. I mean, I honestly think our sports career RSO, there were more people, like there were only probably 2 athletes on it at the time, and myself and a football player. And other than that, everyone else wasn't in sports. So I think it's important to know that you don't have to be an athlete, you don't have to be in sports or anything like that to go into sports. So then let's talk a little bit following graduation. So I graduate, you graduate college and you think, all right, I'm gonna get this dream job, I'm gonna have this job, it's gonna be awesome. So I graduated, I applied honestly everywhere. I can't even tell you how many places I applied. I'm sure people have told you this before and I will say it again, and it's sad, but it's the truth. And now working in sports, I know it's the truth. About 90% of the jobs you apply for, they already know who they want. And I'm gonna say that. I mean, they know who they want before they have to post it just for legal reasons. They have to post it for other reasons, but at the end of the day, they already know who they want. So having that in, being able to network, being able to talk to people before you apply is already gonna get you that in before you do anything. So I keep applying and I don't really know what I wanna do. I'm telling my parents, I'm telling all my family, this is what I wanna do, this is what I wanna do. And I still remember my dad looking at me and goes, well, does that job exist? I was like, I don't know, but I wanna do this and I'm gonna do this. I just don't know where, I don't know when, and I don't know how I'm gonna get there, but someday I'll be there. So I think, well, probably need some money, can't really live at mom and dad's forever. So I apply for the YMCA, and it's just kind of a sports position. So I stayed with YMCA. I graduated in May and I stayed with the Y until August. It was kind of a part-time position. So I'm the sports specialist. Sorry, but I hated it, did not like it. I was running all the sports and youth programs for the little kids, which that's an amazing job for some people, but for me, I knew that wasn't what I wanted to do. I wanted to be in college. I wanted to be helping in a different aspect than with just younger kids. So here I am, and I'm on the website, and I'm almost feeling defeated, honestly, and I think a lot of people in sports is you can feel defeated. I graduated college and had job offers at like Gordon Food Service, at different marketing agencies. I had offers for like 60 grand right out of college, and I'm like, okay, I should just take this. This is good money, graduating, I should take this. But no, I knew I wanted to be in sports. I know I'm made for sports, and I said, you know what, I'm going to stick with it. So I'm finally kind of on the last straw, and I meet with the AD at Grandville, and they say that they need a head coach for the varsity basketball team. He's like, we want you, whatever. And so I'm gonna do this. I'm like, at the end of the day, I just need to take a position. So I meet with him, I'm about to do this, and that day before I meet with him, I'm online, and I'm on ncaa.org, which I don't know if you guys use that site, but you totally should, because it's got a lot of jobs, ncaa.org. Look at those for jobs, for sporting jobs. So I'm on there, and I run into this WBCA, and it's in Atlanta, Georgia. And the only reason I even applied for it was because I had some family in Atlanta. And if people knew me in high school, they were like, you will never leave Grand Rapids. I love the North, I love Grand Rapids, I love everything about here. And so I look and I'm like, you know what, maybe I should apply, whatever, I'll apply. So I apply, and for some reason they give me an interview, and then for some reason they hire me. And so I'm like, okay, I guess I'm moving to Atlanta. And what I think is pretty cool about the WBCA, which I'll get into and we'll talk about that starting next, is our internship program. A lot of people, when you go into interns, and I think that's important for you guys to know too, is internships can be, honestly, like the crappy work. Internships can be, you might go into it and they might say you're doing this, 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 and this, but you might be doing the copies, you might be doing stuff like that. But what's awesome about the WBCA internship is you honestly go in and you're almost like a full-time employee. I'll talk about this again later too. We're a really small staff. We have 12 people and we have over 6,000 members at the WBCA. So you got 12 people doing all this stuff for 6,000 women's basketball coaches, starting from the WNBA all the way down to AAU coaches. And so when you are hired on as an intern, you're hired on to honestly work. I'm 24 years old and I'm on the phone with, like, honestly, this sounds ridiculous, but like the commissioner at like the ACC, and I'm telling him what to do. I'm like, okay, I'm 24, I need you to do this at this time. And it was an amazing experience, and it was like just an amazing work that I honestly cannot talk enough about the WBCA. It's honestly exactly what I wanted. And when I applied for it and I got the job, I said, Dad, this is exactly what I've been talking about for the past 3 years. So let's move in right into what is the WBCA. Like I said, I didn't know what the WBCA was, and I was a student athlete that played women's basketball. That is terrible. So it's the Professional Association for Coaches of Women's and Girls Basketball at all levels. So that's, like I just said, from WNBA, so head coaches, assistant coaches, SWAs, ADs, anything in women's basketball that makes the World Women's Basketball Association go round, they are a part of our association. So we do all of this stuff. Me being the manager of education, I do honestly almost all of this. So educational programming. I do a lot of educational programming. Oh my gosh, so much education programming for our coaches. Networking opportunities, so we have a national convention, which is in conjunction with the Women's Final Four. So you always think the Women's Final Four. So you have the NCAA, so that's like the umbrella that we are under. So we are the WBCA, and there's also the NABC. So that's the men's association for all the men's coaches. They have the same thing for volleyball, they have the same thing for baseball, they have the same thing for softball, all the sports, like the bigger, honestly, I want to say almost all the sports have an association for their coaches. So we're the coaches side. NCAA is student athlete, we are the coaches. So we do everything for the coaches. So that is, like I said, at the convention, we put on, this year we had over 2,500 coaches. Once again, we have 12 full-time staff putting on a convention for 2,500 people. Budgeting, we have a massive budget to budget for this convention. So we're putting on classroom sessions, we're putting on, food, happy hours, parties. We do a big party. It's awesome. Like over 1,200 women's basketball coaches get together, and it's just a celebration, honestly, for them. It's amazing. We do all the information and news. So we do a lot of the articles, a lot of the blogs, a lot of in the women's basketball world, all those articles come from us. It's kind of funny, a lot of the stuff we do, people don't realize that's what we do, which is honestly all the awards. So let's say you play football and you're an All-American, the Coaches Association did that. If you're the Player of the Year, the Coaches Association did that. So we do player awards, and then we do all of the coaches awards as well too. So if you're the Coach of the Year, so Andy Bronkema was Coach of the Year. That was from the NABCA, like Zach Hankins. Player of the Year, that was from the Men's Association, our equivalent. So that's what I'm doing, but on the women's side, which, girl power. Sorry. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what I do exactly for the WBCA and what kind of my position is for the WBCA and what I've kind of learned with them. So like I said, when I was the convention logistics intern, that was the position that I came in as. So I am an intern, and I have no background in events. I did an internship but at high school. So my background is in communications. That's what I know. So I get hired for this position. I apply for a position, and the position I applied for, as I'm on the interview process, she goes, no, that's not you. We're going to make you this position. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know what any of that is. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what audio visual. I literally had no idea what I was doing. But I think that's important to know too. Sometimes you apply for jobs and they will train you because they want the person. They want you as a person. And so sometimes your personality or your work ethic will overbeat you for a position. I talk a lot about relationships. I cannot talk enough about relationships, and I'll talk more about this later too, is a lot of people say networking. You need to network, you need to network, you need to network. Okay, you need to network, but that networking needs to actually mean something. You can't network, like so today, if I end up talking to you, that's networking. But the relationship of maybe him texting me or sending me email, follow-up email, and hey, Kara, that's important because maybe in 3 years, when you graduate and you want to apply at, I don't know, Michigan, you might reach out to me and say, hey, I want to work for the women's basketball team at Michigan. Well, guess what? That's funny. I know I talk to Kim every other day. So let me call Kim, and it's all about that. You never know when. You never know when someone might help you. Right now, people that I met as an intern, they might hire me in 5 years. And what I think is really cool, so I do this internship. My internship is unreal. It's, like I said, the time of my life. So the way our internship worked is you're hired from end of October, so it's pretty much the whole basketball season. So the end of October, and then you work until the end of April. But the women's Final Four is, my intern year got done on like April 7th, and then you have a week off. And so you come back, so it's like April 15th, I have no idea. And then that week back, you kind of, it's all like follow up to convention. So it's your thank you notes, it's your, all these little things, which side note, thank you notes. Write thank you notes. Don't just send them an email, write thank you notes. They are so important. I write every year probably over 200 thank you notes every single year. And yeah, my hand hurts, but I can tell you right now that when one of them calls my CEO and is like, oh my gosh, Kara sent me a thank you note, it looks really good on you, and one, I want to do it because thank you for everything that you do. So anyways, I come back, I'm applying for jobs because after this internship, we're a small company. They don't need me. There's no position for me, there's nothing. And the week back, so it's the Monday before Friday is our last day. So I'm moving out, my parents are coming down on Thursday to help me move out. And all this, I get called down and they're in a senior director meeting. And I'm with my CEO and with our COO and all the directors. And I'm sitting there and one, I was a little scared. I'm just sitting there with all these important people. And she looks at me and she goes, Kara, she goes, over the past week, I've had over 35 calls from people at convention that have called me and said that I have to hire you. And that could have been from, honestly, the janitor all the way up to like Drew Hancock, who's the commissioner at the ACC, like calling her and saying, you need to hire this girl. And she looks at me, she goes, we don't have a position. I have no idea what the position will be, but I want to offer you a position. I said, okay, well, I have no idea honestly, they had no idea what I was going to do. And so this is Monday, my parents are coming on Thursday, and so I'm like, okay, let me talk to my family. So I'm talking to my family, and they're like, okay, well, what are you gonna do? And I said, honestly, I have no idea. They don't know. But I said, this is an amazing organization, and this job is unreal. I feel like I have to take it. So I take a position that I don't know what I'm gonna be doing. Because at the end of the day, who you work for and what you're doing, like the people are what make it important, especially in sports, because you work a lot in sports, as a lot of you guys know. So I take this position. As my first year progresses, honestly, they are writing my job description as I start doing things. So I'm now the manager of education, and that's my title that when I started, I do not think I was the manager of education. So I kind of do a lot of different things. So I do webinars. So we do so many webinars for our coaches, because the cool thing, before I was hired, all of our education was just a one-time meeting at convention. So you do a national convention, it's a big get-together, and that's where you get all your education for the whole year. Well, that's a 4-day convention, and there's 365 days a year. So my goal when I was hired was, okay, I want to offer 365 days of education. So we do webinars. We do 30 under 30 webinars, that's an award. So I'm under 30, and you're in the profession, and someone can nominate you, so we have 30 under 30. They do that in a lot of different professions as well, too. So we do a webinar series for them. We do So You Want to Be a Coach, which I'll talk about, too. So You Want to Be a Coach is one of the most premier, it's probably one of the coolest things that we actually do. Let's say you're a graduating senior in women's basketball and you want to get into coaching. You apply for this programming at convention, and you get to be in front of all of these coaches, and it's about 60 people that can be in this program, and about, honestly, like 150 people to 200 people apply each year. And they go through this process and all of this, and then they get to be in this program. So we do webinars for them. We do webinars for So You Want to Be a Head Coach. So assistant coaches that want to become head coaches, we do programming for them. General, so this is for all of our coaches, which general webinars will have like 500 people on our webinars. High school, we do high school webinars just for high school coaches, because they need different education than our college coaches do. And then rookie coaches. So if you're a rookie coach at any level, we do rookie coaches webinars as well. So I did just like a little bit of This is Jen Strawley is the SWA at the University of Miami, and this is a webinar that, if you can't listen, that's okay. We'll try one more time. Nope. Okay, well anyway, so that's like a webinar that it shows a little bit of what our webinar series is. So what I do on my end is I introduce the speaker and I talk. So one thing that's speaking, I think of it in sports communication. Communication is in any position that you're ever in. So a lot of people talk about, oh, well, communication this or this. Oh no, you literally have to be able to talk all the time. I have to talk in front of literally people when I don't even think I have to, because it might not be in my job description, but if I'm somewhere and let's say an assistant coach didn't show up to introduce a speaker, well, guess who's doing it? Me. So you have to be able to talk and you have to be able to public speak. All of our education at convention, so we have a call for speakers. Our convention is in April. Our call for speakers starts in June. So in June, we do a call for all these speakers. You can apply. You can be a basketball coach. We've had volleyball coaches speak. We've had softball coaches speak. We've had industry professionals speak. So just somebody within the profession that might be like a recruiting coordinator that's not in women's basketball but knows all about recruiting. So I'm in charge of all of that programming. So about 300 people apply, and I'm in charge of getting all of that. And then we have different committees that I'm a part of that need to vote on, okay, should this person speak? Should this person speak? I'm also in charge of all of audio-visual. So I do, once again, I'm not techie. Honestly, Megan had to put the PowerPoint in for me. I'm not techie and I'm in charge of the AV because I have to be somehow. So we have a budget of, 70, however much your budget is. So let's say it was 50 grand or 75 grand, and I'm in charge of, okay, we need a camera, we need a PowerPoint, we need all this different stuff. I'm in charge of all that. Somehow, I don't know how, but I am. Room sets. So any way you think of, I always laugh because you think of a convention, every little thing that you do in any position that you're in, you have to think of all the back work that goes into it. So we literally came back from convention and we're going on our site visit to Tampa next week. Okay. Honestly, you come back and you're already planning a year out. We'll have site visits for 2024, next year. We'll go to pick all of our site visits. So everything is always in preparation for what's next or what's coming next. And then this is the part that I think is pretty cool. So I'm the liaison for all these different committees. So I was talking to Megan and Dr. A little bit about here before this, but all of our committees are made up of our members. So we have members on all these different committees. So our diversity and inclusion committee. This is a huge thing that's happening nowadays with everything that's going on in the world. It's really important to have this. And I love this committee more than anything. And so what this is it's 12 of, honestly, some of the most powerful people in women's athletics. It's unbelievable, the people on this group. It's, diversity from all over. So we have a coach that does sign language. We have, coaches that come from all these different backgrounds to make up this committee. But then we have, I think what's important to know too is sometimes you need important people to make things move forward. You can be, don't get me wrong, I say I'm nobody, but at the end of the day, I'm a part of something that's bigger, and hopefully someday I will be somebody to move the needle. But you need some big names to help things get moved. And so on this committee, we have some amazing people. Professional development working group. So this is a group that's in charge of all of our education. So I reach out to this group all the time. They do so many things for us. It's a little ridiculous. 2-year college coaches. So we just changed to 2-year college coaches. That's also considered JUCO. So I'm the liaison for all those coaches. So let's say you're a junior college coach and you need something legal help, or you need education, or you need something. This coach is going to call me and be like, hey, Kara, I need this, this, and this. Okay, well, let me find this for you, or let me direct you in the right location. And then also the Director of Basketball Operations Committee. So I am also the DOBO committee for people that understand basketball. So DOBOs call me if they need something. I help them. Same with the Assistant Coaches Committee. So I'm a part of a committee that does all the assistant coaches programming at convention. Lots and lots of assistant coaches. You got to think for each head coach, starting at D1, you got 3, 4 assistants. At D2, you have 1 to 2. There's so many assistant coaches, so it's important for us to read our coaches. And then one of the main things I'm really proud of is what I'm a part of is the WBCA Coaches Classroom. So these were just started with me, we kind of started these together with the professional development group, is they're regional clinics around the United States for coaches. So we have about 7 a summer, and I will go to them and we will have coaches speak to coaches. So about like 200 coaches will come and listen to these clinics. So for example, we have one in Atlanta, we have one in Boston, and we have one in Washington, New York, Texas, Wichita State. So I'll go to all these and we'll have all these different coaches speak at them. So for example, when we're in Atlanta, we are having Clemson, we'll have Georgia, we'll have maybe an AD speak. We'll have all these different coaches come and speak to our coaches. And it's just like honestly, I almost want to call it like a camp, like a day at camp, but you're just a coach listening, so you're learning a lot. And then what I think is important to know, you have all this stuff, but I do every other thing too. I work for a nonprofit. When you work for a nonprofit and when you work for a small company, you do everything, which is amazing because I get to do stuff that I would never get to do if I worked at, a corporate office, because there's 19 million other people that could be doing that. But I chose to work for a smaller company so that you do get to get your feet wet and everything. And then we work a lot with the NCAA, the whole entire NCAA staff. We had Mark Emmert, the president, come and speak at our convention this year. So you work a lot with different contacts, and I think that's really important and good to know is each conversation you have with someone is important, and I'm gonna keep nailing that on the head because of how important it is each time you're talking to someone. I think my favorite, I've said this since I was little, was treat everyone like it's the president. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're 15 years old. I don't care if you're 85 years old. I'm gonna talk to you the same way I would talk to anyone because at the end of the day, like, you're important. You have value and you have something important to say. Any questions about the WBCA? Or am I boring you? Okay, good. No heads. Go for it. Wait, I can't. Who just? Yeah.
So, like, do you feel like your, do you feel like the position you're doing now, like,
like somewhere else? Yes, I think I'll talk about this too. Is a lot of every time you're doing something, it's preparing you for the next thing. So I talk to people I want to work for someday, right? So I really want to work for a commission. Like I want to be, and I say this at the end, I want to be the commissioner of the Big Ten before I'm 45. That's what I want to do. But I talk to all the Big Ten coaches, so you need support to get you there. And that's kind of, you're building it the minute you enter the professional world, no matter what job you're in. Even if your first job isn't in sports and you want to be in sports, it's already preparing you and you need to be using those connections. And yeah, 100%. So we work for the WNBA, we work for them. So we do all their stuff too. I really don't see myself in professionals. I see myself at the college. I just love the college level. It's awesome. But they're still our members too. So the WNBA coach, the Atlanta Dream are right by us. So we work a lot with the Atlanta Dream for a lot of different stuff. So it's different, but I know the way I want to go. But that's definitely an avenue, if I wanted to, that I could go that way. Good question. What's up?
how many year courses do you guys have?
We have one. Yeah. It's in Atlanta. Yep. Atlanta, Georgia. And we have internships each year. I keep saying, I said, I'm going to go there and I'm going to tell them to apply for the internships because I'm from Ferris and I'm big time. So I need my Ferris State people to be big time. Okay. So apply. So right here, I'm doing a couple pictures so you guys can kind of see a little bit about convention. So these are learning labs. So what this is for educational purposes is these are big panels, hour-long sessions of kind of programming. So here we have up front, honestly, I think this is the assistant coaches panel. So you got the assistant coach from California, Tulane, Princeton, and then the head coach from Cal. So they're up there and they're talking about, something about assistant coaches. I honestly can't remember their topic. But so I'm in charge of see the room set, see all the AV, I'm in charge of introducing them, I'm in charge of making sure everything runs smoothly. Because at the same time that this is going on, there's 10 other of these rooms going on at the same time. Roundtables, these are cool. So this is a lot of education where the coaches, he obviously kind of runs the session, but so they're within an hour and a half time frame, there might be 8 of these education, kind of these rooms set up at the same time. And within that hour and a half, you can rotate to 3 different sessions. So you go to these different sessions so you can like kind of talk and network and brainstorm, and they're less formal, which these are so crazy busy, it's ridiculous. They're sponsored by Nike, and I mean, this year, so we give out notebooks, and this year I was walking up the escalators and there was this coach in front of me, and they took 12 notebooks. And I was like, oh my gosh, and they knew that they didn't see me, and I go, hey coach, and they like froze because they know they're not supposed to. And they took 12, and I said, so you're gonna take lots of notes, right? I'm gonna tell you right now, she was not taking notes. But they take all of this stuff, because coaches love free stuff. On court, this is cool. We do a full-on basketball court at our convention. So we'll have this is kind of like our Division I coaches. We always do like some of the top Division II coaches. Robin Freilich, who coached at Ashland, which is in the GLIAC, spoke on court this year. We always do. Who else spoke? Muffet McGraw was supposed to, but she was in the Final Four and won, so that was cool. So we do on-court clinicians for 2 days, and these coaches come on here and they might talk about offense, they might talk about defense, but this is a really popular, cool session because it's a full court, and we have demonstrators that help them. Obviously, we do these awards, so we have Coaches of the Year. So this was this year's all divisions. So like I said, we do all the divisions. So we have a Division I head coach, we have a Division II, Division III, all the way down to high school. This year, each year we do 3 like main big speakers, so like our bigger people that everyone comes to. And this is during that session. So they got up there and they did like a Q&A type of thing, which was pretty awesome. We have over 47 awards, which when you think of 47 awards, obviously someone has to manage all of those awards. So we have a manager of awards that oversees all of these things, and so she takes lots of calls with all these committees. This was, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Kate Fagan, but she spoke this year for us. She's awesome, she's a rock star. Obviously, there's a lot going on with mental health right now, and so we thought it was important to bring in somebody to speak about mental health and talk about her book that she wrote, which if you have not read, it's great, but I cried, but I'm emotional, so it's okay. And so she came and spoke, and once again, I'm kind of, honestly, all the keynotes, I'm like their handler. So I kind of walk around, kind of Megan, like today, when you walked me around, that's what I do with them. I walk them, I get them mic'd, I do all that different type of stuff with them. And it's actually kind of my favorite thing, because you build these relationships with them, back in July, and then when you finally meet them in April, I think that's the cool part, is you're in any position that you're in, even if you're in an events world, even if you're not in an events world, everything starts in the office, everything starts from an email, everything starts from, a phone call. And I think you have to be able to, once you do meet them in person, that's kind of like almost the celebration. That's the cool part to me, is I talk to these coaches for a year, and then I finally get to meet them. So it's really important to build a relationship with them. If you know that you're a really good, person on the phone, call them on the phone. Shoot them an email, but then still do a follow-up with the phone. I'm not gonna lie, from when I started, I was the worst. I was a bad emailer. I was a bad writer, I did not know what I was saying, so I would write them an email and then I'd call them. And they'd say yes to me on the phone, but if they would have just read the email, they'd probably been like, no, like honestly. So just know your strengths and know what you're good at. Coach's classroom, so this is what I was talking about earlier. This is what I do, and I go around to all these different clinics around the nation during the summer. So we're in charge of all the registration, we're in charge of getting the speakers, we're in charge of the topics, we're in charge of where they're located, that kind of situation. So these are really awesome, and they're normally like half days, so anywhere from noon to 5 p.m., or sometimes they start at 11 and they go until 6 p.m. They're different all the time. And this was what I was talking about, the So You Want to Be a Coach program. So we had 62 student athletes that were graduating, and they went through this program, and it's like a 3-day program, and then at the end of it, coaches that need positions will interview them. And we also have a resume booklet, and this already gives you like a one-up on people, because if you went through our program, you already have like the networking, you get to talk to coaches at convention, you get to do stuff like that. And then also with any position or anything that you do, you have partners or you have sponsors, or however you really want to call them. So this is the Marines put on a workout each year, and it is really hard, and I went one time for 10 minutes and I left because it's pretty intense. But you need partners in anything that you're in, and you need to have, once again, relationships with these partners because money makes the world go round, and so that's what our partners do for us. Sorry for the weird photo too, but it's the only one I had. This is kind of where I want to talk about of what I learned at Ferris that kind of got me to where I am now. And a lot about it, like I've touched on it, but internships matter. I will say that forever. I mean, I will say that till I'm blue in my face. One, it doesn't matter what the position is. If it's what you, let's say if I know I want to work for, I don't know, the Van Andel. Like, I want to work at the Van Andel for the Griffins. Okay, get a position at the Van Andel. It doesn't matter if you're selling tickets. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Get in there because then you can build relationships and then become what you want to do and do what you want to do, because at the end of the day, I will say I'm pretty lucky in the fact that I was able to get a position that I wanted. Yeah.
So I was doing that opportunity thing, like I mentioned earlier. I'm a television major, so you work directly, like you work like directly, like the people who film and stuff.
Who like film them? So that's kind of not. So like with the games, not, but with whatever gets pro or yeah. So all the events where that's who we would work with, but who's on like national TV. We work a lot with like ESPN just because we need to know. With anything, you need to align. So like that'd be more of our CEO though. Our CEO does a lot of our, Nike, our Under Armour, our Adidas, all of that stuff. Our CEO kind of, because they at the end of the day are talking to higher up people and doing that kind of stuff. They don't have care of talking to the Nike person. I wish. Also interview skills, so important. I took a class here. I cannot remember the name of the class, but I took an interview class, and I will say that was one of the most important classes I took. And I don't even remember what it was called. It was probably just called interview class. I have no idea. But honestly, we did interviews in front of our peers, and I think it's important to know. Oh, you guys didn't like it, did you? I love it. No, but you have to do them in front of them, and it is hard because you never know what interview you're going to have. So for the WBCA, I did a phone interview. You didn't do an in-person interview because I was in Michigan. They're not going to, some people will fly you in, but they did not fly me in for an internship. And then I also had a personality test, especially when you work for small companies. You do a lot of these different types of things because you need to be able to fit in with 12 people, and they need to fit you in like kind of a niche. Our entire company is one way, and I'm this way, but it's because I'm the youngest one and I'm a major extrovert and everyone else is an introvert. So I'm on this side, but that's why I was kind of like a good mesh. Like we needed some of that. So it's really important to know kind of different types of interviews that you will have. Also, public speaking. I feel like a lot of people think like, oh, but really, do I have to know how to public speak? Yeah, you do. It's not in my job description that I have to speak or that I have to, be able to talk in front of people. But at the end of the day, I laugh. Megan brought me over to the softball game before this, and John Coles, who, once again, a rock star, he was on the mic and like introducing people. And I'm like, you are, our assistant AD, and he's on the mic. You never know what you might have to do. This picture of me is, I had to, I was nervous, but somebody didn't show up and I had to talk in front of like 600 coaches. Once again, that is me when I was an intern. I'm in front of all these coaches and really don't know what I'm talking about, but I'm just reading what I have to read. And so you have to be able to do things like on the fly, especially in sports. You got to be able to like work around these things, be able to, just because it says I'm doing this, okay, what if something goes wrong? You have to do this. Also is seeks out the opportunity. I think this is big. I still remember a lot of these conversations, and a lot of people, what I wanted you guys to get out of here is you need to stay positive, because in sports, it's sometimes easy to take the easy way out and take that job just because it's money. And I totally understand that sometimes, I had to take a job just for money purposes, but you have to be your own advocate, and you have to be able to go out there and seek the job. You have to find the job you want. And if you want it, go get it. Like, who cares if you're 24? And I'll say that because I'm a millennial, because everyone always tells me that. Like, you millennials think you can do anything. Well, heck yeah, we can. And so, like, go out and get that job that you want. Apply. Who cares if you're 24 and maybe, I mean, in my job, I should probably have a master's. I do not have a master's. I got the job just because they, at the end of the day, knew I worked hard and had a good, a good personality. So, and they will train you. If they want you, they'll train you. So at the end of the day, seek out opportunities. If you don't fit that job description, if you want that, still apply. Still apply and talk to someone that you can talk to get that position. Communication is key. Oh my gosh, communication, guys, very important. And look at us, you guys are all sports commies. So communication. You, in any company that you work for, in anything that you do, like I said, we work 12 people in my staff. I work with every single person on our staff. I'm on the events department. So we have events department, we have a membership department, we have a technology department, and then we have like our senior advanced team and everything like that. At the end of the day, I work with every single department because, okay, so I have a speaker. Well, obviously it has to be marketed. So that goes to our social media person has to be able to do that. And then at the end of the day, we always need membership. So our membership has to know when this event is to get more members. So you're working with a lot of people always. And it's important to know that if I'm doing one thing, you need to be able to talk that through with someone else and talk with them. Listen. I listen so much. At the end of the day, I'm young. I want to listen. I want to learn. I want to know everything. So if one of my peers or if someone that is older than me is talking to me, I mean, there's times when I'll sit with our senior team and I'll just listen. I mean, I don't know anything they're talking about, but when I was an intern, I used to sit in every meeting. They gave me the opportunity to sit. I used to sit in meetings that I knew nothing about, had no idea what was going on, but I would just sit in to listen and learn, kind of learn the trait of what was going on. So always keep your ears peeled, even when maybe, sounds bad, but even when sometimes you shouldn't be. If you're in your office and you're over here, some of the times I would have things done because I knew what was going on because I listened. And I would have it done ahead of time for them because I knew what was going on. Leader. I was talking about, I've now had 3 interns, and all of my interns have been older than me. So you have to be able to lead different ages. You have to be able to lead, different people. I was 24 and I had a 28-year-old intern. And sometimes that's hard to navigate because it's a little weird, but at the same time, you have to learn how to do it, and you have to know how to do it because that's what leadership is. Leadership isn't an age, it isn't a number. You are just, you need to know how to lead. Even, I know there's a natural born leader, but you can, even if you're not a natural born leader, there's always a way to be a leader. And if that's, like I said, if that's listening, if that's learning or talking to other people, it's important to do because you want to be a leader. I said this earlier, but like a self-starter, you have to be able to self-start things before someone tells you what to do, just by knowing things. And it kind of goes along with knows the sport, kind of like the trick of the trade. I mean, I come from basketball. I know basketball pretty well. And I don't want to say this to deter people from anything because at the end of the day, I'd love to work for all sports, all women's sports. I don't know much about soccer. I would love to work for women's soccer just because at the end of the day, I care about sports. But it does help me, I will say that, knowing what women's basketball is because I can do stuff because I know what's coming, if that makes sense. So you want to be like the trick of the trade and you want to know what's going on. So these were just a couple other things. Detailed. You have to be extremely detailed, especially in events. The littlest thing, I mean, honestly, something you don't even think about. Maybe you have 4 speakers coming and you're like, oh my gosh, well, how many microphones do I need? But if I have 4 microphones, what does that do then we need a different amp. Like honestly, you have to think down to the littlest thing in sports. It's ridiculous. Honestly, if you're not thinking about it, then you probably missed something with any event. I even think back to Dr. A. I did the softball event back in the day. I know I'm acting like I'm old. I'm really not that old. But 3 years ago, I did the softball thing. And I remember we started doing it and then a week out, we're like, oh my gosh, what about this, this, and this? And we're like, oh crap, well, what about the tables that we need for the ice cream? What do we need for this? There's so many little things that go into sports, and it's important to be detailed. Relationships. I cannot say this enough, but relationships. This is Sue Inquist. This is from my intern year, and Sue Inquist was an 11-time national championship softball coach at UCLA. She's a rock star and still talks to me to this day, calls me each year during convention, sends me like gift packages because we just had such a good relationship. And I can tell you right now, if I wanted maybe to go work for UCLA, I would have one of the biggest advocates that's known throughout the entire country backing me up just because of our 1.5 days together at convention. So like I said, relationships matter, but also the time matters. Time is so important. And people take time, and this sounds so bad, but it's so true, is I think of my cell phone. Like, okay, when you're sitting with someone, don't be on your cell phone, and that's time. Like, there are people that are oriented for different things, so time-oriented people. There's a lot of people in the sports industry that are time-oriented because they don't have a lot of time because of how busy they are. And so when you can give them devoted time and you can care and they're important to you, it goes a long way, especially, I mean, I am so busy at convention, I'm running around like a crazy person, but at the end of the day, I will sit, if I'm late to something, I'll sit and talk to somebody at the end of the day, people want to be heard. It doesn't matter if you're a high school coach, it doesn't matter if you're a D1 coach, I want to, once again, treat you the exact same way. And I think that's another thing with my position coming in is I'm the JUCO, like I'm the 2-year college rep, so I sit and I listen to their issues and everything that's going on with them, and I know they have, a lot of stuff going on. They just want to be heard. They want me to try to help, and I'm trying to help, but I'll tell you, there's a lot going on, so you need to build these relationships. Support. I know it's not a great photo. This was after very long hours. I mean, I'm talking about at convention, you wake up at 3 in, and then you run a convention all day, and it's crazy, and then you go to bed at like 11 o'clock because you might go to the games. For like 12 days, you're getting maybe 3 hours of sleep, and I'm not even exaggerating when I say that. It's the longest hours ever. And so I always talk about support. I probably couldn't have worked for the WBCA if my parents didn't let me live at home for 5 months. And it doesn't have to be parent support. It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be family support. It can be friend support. It can be any type of support that can help you get to where you want. And I just use my parents as an example because my whole life they supported me. But it's important to have that in your life. The good stuff and not so fun stuff. I put that because I'm the baby of the pack. So that's not me, but I'm the baby of the office. Busy. Sports, you are busy, but it is like a love of passion, and that's why you do it. But also, I probably have an amazing job in the fact that, yes, I'm busy, but I don't work weekends. I have half-day Fridays during the summer. I get 16 days during Christmas without me taking PTO. I get unbelievable hours, and I have this amazing job. But I can tell you right now, from January until April, I could be working anywhere from 7 in to 10 at night, or I could be working, there are days you can't sleep because you're thinking about something, so you might go to the office. Literally, I've been at the office at 3 in. So it's a labor of love, but at the same time, it outpays it. It's just an amazing, to be in the sports industry is pretty unreal, and it's a community, honestly. It's a community of people that want you to get better and want you to be better. Traveling. I say this is a negative and a positive. Traveling for work is always cool because you're not in the office all the time. So I get to travel a lot for work, but that's just because of my position. I probably travel the most out of any manager because I'm in charge of all these clinics, and I also am in charge of events. So I go on the site visits, I go and look at all of this stuff, but a lot of people in our office don't travel, but I'll tell you, traveling is exhausting too. It's tiring. So when you're looking for jobs and you see this position and it might say, oh, you're traveling for all this stuff. It's fun at the beginning, but being 3 years in, it's hard work. You just think about getting on the plane and all the stuff you have to pack, and a lot goes into it. So I put this as a positive and a negative. Right now I think I'm still in the positive stage because I'm young and I don't have a family, but I'm gonna tell you, it's hard. It's really hard. Also being the young one. So when you are the young one, you get a lot of stuff. People give you more stuff because you're young, and they're like, you have more energy than me. I'm 60. You can do this. So they give you a lot of stuff, but I try to look at it as a positive in the fact that, okay, you're giving me more because I can handle more. You're giving me. I always think of it. Okay, don't get mad because they're giving you honestly the crappy stuff sometimes, but take it as, okay, you can get this done and your work done. One of my favorite things I didn't put on here, but I will say this, and I think this is important for all you guys to remember, is always put everyone's work in front of yours. So if someone sends me an email and says, hey, can you do this for me? Never say you're too busy for it. Never. I don't care how busy you are. When Dr. A called me, I was like, I'm busy, but I will make it work because I want to be here. I want to talk to you guys. I want to, be a voice and be an advocate of Ferris, because I love this place, Bulldogs for life. But I'm telling you, it's just always I don't care how busy you are, you always have time for other people. And I think that's one thing that has always put me above other people is if someone calls me, I will make sure it's done within the next hour. I don't care. I will make sure I always have my emails. People have like thousands of emails that they haven't read. Right now I'm stressed out that I have like 20. I'm like, I gotta go answer those right now. Because I want people to know that I'm there for them, because then when I need them, because you need people in sports, they'll then help me. Different every day, working in sports, oh my gosh, so different every single day. I might be in the office, you might have a conference call with your partner. So you might start your day, a typical day for me. I might wake up, go to work. Well, first I work out, just gotta work out. But then you go to the office and you might have a call with a corporate sponsor. So let's say you have a call with Nike. So you get off that call, it's an hour, I don't even know what you talk about, but you talk about something. Then you might have a manager's meeting. So you're talking about, okay, this is what's going on in my world, this is what's going on in my world, what's up there. Then sometimes we go work lunches. I like work lunches. So then you might go to a work lunch and talk over lunch. On Friday, we went to Topgolf because we do fun things like that. So we do like staff outings. So with our interns, that's why I love having interns, because we get to do all this fun stuff. And then they leave and we don't get to do the fun stuff anymore. But we do fun things like that. I think it's important. I am the biggest advocate of work hard, play harder. I mean, do your thing as long as you get your work done and you work hard at work. I mean, I do so much. I mean, I'm like the Energizer Bunny. I'm always doing something. So I think it's just important to remember that and to do that. Office work, no matter what you do, no matter what job you go into, if it's, you want to run events, if you know whatever you want to do, at the end of the day, you're always going to have to also work in the office. So you have to be good in the office. You can't just be awesome on site. So you can't just be a rock star on site, because at the end of the day, there are 11 months that go into planning something before you have this massive event. So if you're great on site, heck yeah, that's awesome face-to-face time with people. But if you were not good leading up to that, it might not help you out the best. So you need to be good at what you do all the time, even in the office. So when you're applying for jobs, you need to know that you will be sending emails, you will be writing people, you will be doing this type of stuff. Even if it says you're not, you are. You are doing that. Packing, unpacking, organizing, random things. This is the part that I was saying. So my job description says this, this, and this, but there might be days that I'm going in the deep storage and schlepping all these boxes around and getting my workout in. There might be days that I'm ordering office supplies. There might be days that I'm running 5,000 I mean, honestly, I don't know. Sometimes I go to work and I'm like, I'm gonna do this, 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 and this. And I think this is the definition of sports. You have no to-do lists in sports. I mean, you get to the office, there was something I was gonna have done like on Monday. Honestly, this presentation. I was like, I'm gonna have this done this day. Okay, I'm gonna have it done this day. Like, things always are coming at you, so when you can get things done, you need to get things done. Because you might go into work on a Monday and your whole week changes just from one meeting. Something might pop up, someone might call. I mean, if an important person calls and they need something, you change what you're doing that week or that day for that person. Also, writing. I will say this is one of the biggest challenges I have, and I think a lot of people in the work area do have, and this is something I'll continue to work on, is writing. So when you're writing, and this, I mean, I'll put myself down here. I did a lot of writing for Dr. A. And I wish I would have taken it even more seriously, because every time you write, and I'm not even guys, these papers you gotta write them good, write good papers, because I turned in one of my papers that I sent for her for this WBCA, and from one line, I don't even remember what line it was, but from one of the lines, my director was like, from this one line, because all the grammar was right, we knew that we liked you. I was like, from one line, and they're like, yeah, one line, because people don't know how to write anymore. People don't. So if you're a good writer, I mean, they're gonna take you, they're gonna want you because you're a good writer. So take it seriously. Oh my gosh, take it seriously, because I didn't, and I should have taken it more seriously because it would have helped me more. A couple things here with eye-openers when you're in the work field. You have to work for it. Please do not graduate and think that you're gonna apply for a job and you're gonna get that first position, because you're not. But I'm also going to say to you, because I want to be this person, be positive, because I feel like I'm a prime example of I graduated and kind of got what I wanted. I did what I wanted because I said I'm going to do it. I didn't listen to people. I mean, there's a lot of people that say, hey, there's no way, you're 25 years old, how are you gonna do this or this? No, do it. You have to, honestly, you have to work for it, and it's not gonna be easy. It's, like I said, I can't even tell you how many jobs I applied for. And if the WBCA honestly didn't give me this position, I don't know where I would have ended up. I don't know if I would have stayed in sports. I have no idea. But you can't give up. Don't apply and get discouraged and think, oh my gosh, now what? You need to keep applying. Take a part-time job, work as something while you do an internship. And don't be afraid to take an internship. Five internships. I think I honestly did like 5 internships. I think I did 5 internships before. I mean, I did probably 3 in undergrad, but then I did 2 after I graduated while I was working at the Y, just to keep getting experience. You have to be able to keep working, otherwise it's not gonna fall in your lap. I wish it did, really wish it did, but it really doesn't, and it's important to know that. Right here, find someone that believes in you. It is so important that you find someone that believes in you and you kind of honestly latch on. There are a lot of people in my life, you know, other than my parents, love them to death, but like, no offense, my mom that knows nothing, honestly knows nothing about sports, cannot help me in the sports field or get me a position in the sports field. So you need to find people, if that's a mentor, if that's, you know, somebody in your life, you need to be able to latch onto them, and that's what I did with a couple of these people. I talked about this big time, and I want to talk about it again. With the networking is more than just one-time meet and greet. Keep networking with those people. Okay, I leave here, like this sounds, I know I'm 25 years old, I'm 26. Okay, sorry, 26 years old, but I can help you. I mean, I know a lot of people. It's a prime example, Shay Mead, who is my assistant coach here. He's older than me, he was my assistant coach, and he got his job at Nevada because of I worked with their head coach for like 2 years, and she loved me, and I called her. I said, hey, this guy's the man. Like, you need to keep him. He needs to be your Dobo. And he's still there. Like, honestly, it doesn't matter how old I am. It doesn't matter. If I can help you, I want to help you. And all the people that Dr. A's had come and speak, they're going to help you too. But also, I can't help you if I don't know you. Like, I can't advocate for you just because you're a Ferris State Bulldog. That's one up. So I'll say, hey, they went to Ferris, so they're big time, they're awesome. But other than that, if I don't know you, I can't help you. So, you know, talk to people. If that's, you know, calling me, I have my cell phone on here. Don't be texting me all the time. But you can call me or you can email me, and I want to help. I want to help you get to where you want to go. Especially, I mean, I live in Atlanta. I never would have thought I live in Atlanta, and here I am. I live in Atlanta. Mentors. These 3 people I cannot talk. John Coles, when I got offered the position at the WBCA, I called John before I called my parents. I was like, John, this is this position. They don't know what it is. Do I take it? What do I do? And he was the first person I called, and John was like, yeah, take it. Who cares what it is? If this company is amazing, you take the position. So you need to have mentors that are important. Next, Leanna Border. She is the AD at Illinois State. And my intern year literally tried to connect me to every single person at convention because I ran into her and talked to her for 20 minutes. And that was it. No idea who she was, had no idea. I mean, I was like, okay, who are you? Yeah, let's talk. Talked to her for 20 minutes, and she reached out to me this summer for a position that I am so unqualified for. Like, oh my gosh, so unqualified for. Honestly, like a John Coles, but at Illinois State. And I'm like, I'll apply, but I just don't think I'm ready for that. And I told her that. I ended up saying, hey, I'm not ready for this position. But she's willing to be there. She's an advocate. She's a mentor. She's someone that I still, you know, I might not talk to for 2 months, but I just called her 2 days ago, and I just said, hey, I'm going to speak at Ferris. Got any tips? You know, stuff like that. And then lastly, Shannon Reynolds. She is our COO at the WBCA, and she is literally a rock star and who I want to be when I'm older. She'd be mad if I say how old she is, so I won't, but she's older, and she is amazing. She, you know, dominates at life. She super good work-life balance, and I think that's important too. The older you get and the older anything that you do, like I said, you're gonna work hard, but you can also, like, you need to be able to have a life outside of sports, because at the end of the day, sports can't be your whole life, even though they kind of are when you work in sports. But as long as you find the right position and the right thing that you're doing, it doesn't feel like it's your whole life. It feels like it's, you know, it feels like it's a part of your life. And what's cool is when I do a lot of what I'm in, the manager of education, people send me lots of books. I've probably received, if you guys want to read a book, I probably have it, because everyone sends me books. And in one of these books I was reading, I don't read them all, but one of them that I was reading, it showed like work or life. And in your middle of your circle, life needs to be your middle and not work. And so many people always put work in the middle, and it's not. So your life needs to be in the middle, and it's important. And even if you're young, I'll say that too. Like people say, well, when you're young, you need to work hard. I work hard. I work my butt off. But at the end of the day, like I'm still going to put my life first. And I think that's also a lot of these people that do talk about sports. It's sports, sports, sports. And like I said, it is, but it's also important to have this. And Shannon is the most prime example of that person on the planet because she works her butt off, but she also is so fun and amazing. And then also there's always someone there that's to help. So when you feel like someone's not, there is somebody. Dr. A is going to help you. Like I just said, I don't know how many people are here, but you 30 people, you can use me. Like you can talk to people. And one thing I will say is don't put someone on your, people to call for, I don't even know what it's called, references, unless you tell them. Because that's really important. And I'll say that too. One of the main reasons I got the internship at the WBCA is they called both of my people. It was John Coles and then it was Shay, my assistant coach at the time. And she called both of them and they didn't answer. And they didn't answer or anything. And they called back. They called her back and just so that they could talk to her about me. And she said, okay, like I've never had people actually call back. She didn't leave a voicemail, she didn't say anything, but they called back because I had told them like, hey, if you get this Atlanta number, like please answer. And it's important to have those people, and people are always there to help you. Lastly, what's next? So I was talking about that. I think important to know is the best time to look for a job is when you have a job. So, and honestly, you want to work for a company that always wants to help you. So the WBCA, I mean, I've only been there for 2.5, 3, well, full-time 2.5, but forever 3.5 years. And 3 years. I'm losing all track of time. I don't know. And they are my biggest advocate. They want me to succeed. They've told me, like, Carol, we will push you out if you try to stay here too long. We'll push you out because they want what's best for me. They want me to go out and work for all these different people to figure out what I want to do. I think one of the best things my dad ever said to me, he goes, Carol, I'm 55 and I still don't know what I want to do. It's never too late to change what you want to do. So if you're working for a company or if you're working for something, it's okay to all of a sudden decide that it's time to change. It's time to make this move. And you need to work for people that will advocate you as a person, not just because of, we want to keep you because you're good at this. No, they want you to they care more about you than honestly where they're at as an association. So next, honestly, I think I kind of want to work. I miss student athlete life. I miss, honestly, working on a campus, even though if you work on a campus, it's a lot more hours. I mean, it is a lot of hours. So, but I miss it. And so I feel like maybe I need a little bit of that. And I think at the end of the day, like I said to you guys, my goal is to be a commissioner for the Big Ten. So if I want to get there, I think I need to have a little bit of background in all of the sports at different levels. And if that means I consider myself working for the GLIAC, working in a conference office. But at the same time, you don't know what you don't know. And I started working for the WBCA, I had no idea what they were, who they were, what I was doing, anything like that. And now I honestly can say I think I have one of the best jobs. Like my parents always say that. They're like, how are you going to leave? Or like my friends, how are you going to leave? I'm like, honestly, I don't know. Because my job is unreal. I get to talk to the coolest people on the planet. I get to, like I said, I'm 26 years old and the numbers, if you guys stole my phone, you would get to talk to really cool people. Because I just have all the numbers of great people, and that's not me bragging or me saying anything, but I want to motivate you that it's possible. I don't care where you're at, I don't care what you do, but it's possible to be where you want to be at a young age and to keep working in sports and do what you want to do. But I will be the Big Ten commissioner before I'm 45, hopefully. But keep me to it, guys, because that's what I want to do, and hopefully I'll get there. And then I want you guys to ask me any questions you have about my job, about getting here. Like, honestly, if I can help you any way, I want to help you. So if you have questions, let me know, but it's kind of my Ferris State journey for y'all. Does anyone have questions? guys should ask questions. It's important to ask questions. Question, Megan.
Did you ever want to be a coach, or could you ever see yourself being a coach?
Yeah, I thought I wanted to be a coach. I mean, honestly, I wanted to be a coach, but then this sounds so bad, but you, kind of what you're doing in coaching, it's a lot, this sounds bad, but there's so many hours. And for me, I know I want to have a family. So right now I couldn't be. And at the end of the day too, coaching, you get to change all of the student athlete's kind of life, and you get to be in student athlete. But where I see myself is I want to change it all. I want to change from the top to down to the bottom, so that I want to change our coaches so our coaches can change our future. So I want to be the change for the older generation to make our young generation rock stars, which I think they already are. I was just at a conference for the NCAA, and student athletes spoke. And I can tell, honestly, the student athletes, people were asking student athletes, these very, very, very important people are asking student athletes questions. I'm like, oh my gosh, these student athletes rock. And it's cool to see, and so I kind of want to just keep changing that along the way. Yeah. Yeah.
For the WBCA
It's okay, I mess it up too.
conventions, what would you say like the best part of it for someone that wants to be a coach?
Yeah, oh my gosh, it's the amount of people that you talk to. I mean, it's honestly, this sounds bad, and beep this out so my places don't hear me, but it's honestly like the spring break for our coaches. It's like their time to be to learn, but it's also like their celebration. Like, okay, we just finished season one. There's only one winning team at the end of the season. Like, there's only one. And no offense, all the rest of you guys didn't win. So you're all here and you're celebrating together. And there's so much education. If I could, I would want more than anything for a new coach to go to convention, because you get to talk to so many people. There's so many events. It's literally 2,500 coaches just running around doing everything. But as an employee, the coolest part to me is seeing it all come together. And then also, you go to the Final Four, you go to the games, you get to experience it all together. And the best thing about any job that you're in is seeing kind of what you did. And so seeing it come together, and literally all your random meetings you had that you were talking about, are we going to have a table with a tablecloth or not a tablecloth come together? It's pretty cool to see it come together. Did you help with don't you want to be a coach for some reason? Yeah.
I'm the intern.
That's what I thought. Yeah, Kendra had called for the SOAP program. But I know your story. But that's what I was just saying. Yeah, but I think that's cool. I think you should. You should coach, and you should become a member first. And then you can have all of our access. You couldn't even see it on here because we couldn't get to the internet, but our website, log on to WBCA.org, and you'll see all of our programming, everything that we offer. We video everything from convention. Everything at convention, we video, and then it's on our website. And that's why our slogan is 365 days of education now. It's not just convention, because you can access this all year round. So say you can't go to convention because a lot of Division III, a lot of Division II coaches can't afford to go every year, which I hate, and I want them to be able to, but a lot with budgets you can't. And they can watch every single thing if they're a member online. So that's important, and I would become one as soon as you can. Mm-hmm.
Do you see why Ferris was our first outstanding sports communication student?
Oh, thanks.
I got to sit there with your parents when you got to do that thing at the end of the semester.
My parents are cooler than me. They're awesome. I like them.
Take them up on stage and show her off.
Yeah. Anything else? Ask me, I'll answer. Do most of you guys want to go into sports? A lot of people go in this field, and yeah.
What was your experience entering the sports industry as a female? Did you feel like that played a role in whether you got hired?
Yeah, well, one, it was amazing. That's why I love working for the Women's Basketball Coaches Association, because at the end of the day, our membership is 40% female, 60% male. And so I was saying this to Dr. A earlier, is I am all about woman power. I'm like, yeah, women, yay, we rock. Men, you do too. And that's what I'm saying, is you need men in sports too to get you to this opportunity. I talk a lot about allies. In any position that you're in, you know, females, us working together, sometimes we can't push the needle. We might need a man because of an ally. Same with men. I mean, men need us too. We're important too. But when I was applying for the WBCA, heck no. I mean, it's a bunch of women power leaders that are dominating. But once again, we have a ton of male ADs that come and speak at our convention. I mean, we had UConn's AD speaking about how, you know, powerful women's sports are and how much you need women's sports, because without women's sports, one, you can't have men's sports. And two, I mean, we're a big part of that. So I never have really felt anything, but I get what you're saying because that is a thing. But I think it's getting better and better. And that's one of the main reasons I love being on the Diversity and Inclusion Committee. We talk about that all the time. If it's that you're Asian or African American or, you know, anything that you are as a person that could hinder you from a position, and that's why I'm on that committee. It shouldn't hinder you. As long as you're rock at what you do, who cares? Male, female, anything. Like, if you're a rock star, you're a rock star. So. Anything else? Doesn't look like it.
One-on-ones with Kira, if you want to talk to her.
Yeah. Okay.